So let's talk about him. Shaka Haywood. And the reason why I would talk about him is because he is going to be playing tonight versus the Atlanta Falcons. I will be live at 7 o'clock to live stream the whole entire game, give my thoughts and opinions. We'll be breaking it down, tonight. Nonetheless, though, I want to take one player from the preseason, from training camp, highlight this player, their past, what they went through to get to this point, and of course, a player who potentially could make the NFL, whether with the Bengals or whether with another team. Nonetheless, though, in around 10 days, this roster is going to go from 90 men to 53 men. So there's going to be some players who do not make this roster, but let's go ahead and talk about Shaka Haywood. Now, who is Shaka Haywood? Shaka Haywood is a linebacker from Duke. Now, Duke has a long reputation of players being successful in the NFL. For example, Laken Tomlinson, the guard for the New York Jets, Jamison Crowder, Daniel Jones, and that pretty much is where it all goes downhill. Now, obviously, Noah Gray, he's a Chiefs tight end for the longest time. But other than that, there's no one really crazy special on that list of players from Duke. Now, it doesn't mean that if you go to Duke, you're not going to make the NFL. What it means is that it's going to be a little bit harder for you to get in the NFL compared to other players. With that being said, though, Haywood is also the cousin of Casey Haywood, of course, the Pittsburgh Steelers defensive end. So, unlike his cousin who went first round 31st pick, we have an undrafted player here in Shaka Haywood. Now, unless you are a Baltimore Ravens undrafted player, you're probably not going to make the roster depending on the situation. I say that because the Ravens have like 9 players on their current roster right now who are undrafted. It's actually pretty crazy. They just like take every undrafted player and was like, okay, yep, you can make the roster. That's pretty much that. Nonetheless, though, for Shaka Haywood, he has an important role in not only last week's game, but also this week's game. The reason why I say that, guys, is because he is the Mike linebacker. Now, when I say Mike, I'm not meaning Mike and Sam, which is different linebacking types, which of course is in a 3-4 defense. What I'm talking about is the Mike, as in he gets the calls from the defensive coordinator, Lou. So pretty much what happens is one player on defense, they usually have a little green tape thing around their helmet. They get the play call, and I think it has to be before 15 seconds left on the play clock. They get the play call in their helmet, and then now they have to convey the defensive play call to everyone on the field. Sometimes you'll see certain players that not correctly lined up, or maybe they mess up on a play. Sometimes it's actually the fault of the Mike linebacker because they did not convey the message correctly to the rest of the field. We actually saw this, surprisingly enough, with the Ravens a couple years ago when Chuck Clark, who was the Mike linebacker, again, keep in mind, it doesn't just have to be a linebacker. It could be a safety, it could be a linebacker, it could really be anyone on the defense. Someone who just knows what they're doing. Well, when Chuck Clark missed a game, it ended up being they had to use a younger guy as the Mike linebacker. It didn't work out, and none of the defensive calls were actually called correctly. And you might say, why am I bringing this up? It was against us. Yeah, we put up like 300 yards on the Ravens defense. And the reason why? Because the second half, they weren't getting the calls in correctly. So every time the defense coordinator would call in, this safety at the time, he would get the calls and he wouldn't convey it to the guys correctly. So you would have half the team thinking, okay, I got to cover this side, half the team covering this side. No one knew what to call. And when you're going against, obviously Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, it's not easy to stop it. And when you're not getting the correct defensive calls, there's nothing you can really do. And at the end of the day, you can't really change the mic throughout the game. One guy's the mic. So this is why this is so important. And again, this is what Haywood got, chosen with last week. And he's going to be tonight too. This is a huge, huge, huge privilege. This means that the coaches believe in you. They believe in your leadership. They believe that you're going to be competent enough to do this and you're a good enough player. This is what Shaka Haywood had to say. I kind of took that role as being the mic, the voice of the defense, just running the show. I would say ever since my redshirt sophomore year, Haywood said, that's when I came into the role as the Mike linebacker, communicating to the defense and everything like that. So pretty much halfway through my career. Now, at Duke, he did go ahead and play 51 career games with 41 starts and racked up 339 tackles, 32.5 tackles for loss, and 11.5 sacks. And he was actually pretty consistent. And speaking of consistency, that's exactly what he mentions in his next point. He said you can't come in one day and be up here and the next day be down here. It's about consistency. Consistency makes them trust you, which means they'll put you in more and stuff like that. So consistency is a huge piece. And that's true. At the end of the day, we actually heard that exact same point being said by Coach. Coach said, you don't want these players to hit the rookie wall. You don't want these players to be like this, kind of like a roller coaster. You want to consistently see them performing how you want them to perform and see that they're able to do that. And it's not a fluke. It's not a one-time thing. It's not something that isn't going to happen more than once, because obviously then they become a liability. The next point he talked about was about it's definitely a mental grind, especially for a rookie like him going into a new system. You're not the starter. So you're trying to capitalize on the reps that you do have and making the most out of it. And you're going to see that tonight, especially with him and a lot of other players. This obviously is not just, isolated to Shaka Haywood here, but it's really about making the most of every opportunity you get. Because at the end of the day, one mess up, one mistake, and you can cost yourself a job. And it's really that simple, in all honesty. Now, taking a look at Logan Wilson and what Logan Wilson said in this quote, and it really does spell a lot of truth towards Shaka Haywood, this is what he had to say. It can be hard because coaches are going to be really hard on you. Because you're a rookie especially, Wilson said. It's kind of like your freshman year all over again from college. That's just how it is. As soon as a coach stops coaching you hard, then you're kind of on their bad side. When a coach is always trying to push the best out of you, that means they see potential in you. That's what our coaches has been doing for Shaka, for sure. And again, yes, if a coach sees potential in you and he sees that you can come in this team, play at a very successful level, play at a high level, have a high motor, help the team out and win, they're going to push you as much as possible to get you to that point. Because at the end of the day, yes, they do care about you, but your success directly benefits the team, right? Your success directly results in wins and Super Bowls. This is not a one-man sport. This is a team sport. Everything you do on that field is going to impact the other players. If you get a sack on that play, the cornerbacks, they look good. The safeties, they look good. The linebackers, they look good, right? If you cause, let's say, for example, you get a quarterback pressure, you're about to hit the quarterback's arm and it throws it off, it gets picked off because your pressure, that pick six, that's 6 points you caused. That's also a interception you caused, right? So everything you do is a direct benefit to someone else. And the offense is the same thing. If a quarterback throws a good pass, that's good on the receiver to catching the football, right? The line blocks good, the running back can make a play. If they don't block, running back can't make a play. So, again, like I said, I'm going to really highlight Shaka Haywood today in this video and also throughout the rest of training camp and preseason. So we'll be looking at him tonight. I'm going to do a little tally for him, see what he does tonight. He did have 2 tackles last week and 1 assist, which that doesn't always paint the biggest picture. A lot of times you can play pretty good on special teams or just good in general, and you just don't make it up on the stat sheet. That's something that coach even reiterated, which, a lot of times, especially when it comes to like being stat sheet watchers, as they would say, we like to look at the stats and see what is happening, but at the end of the day, that doesn't always paint the true picture. Guys, tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.